Morning, good morning slash afternoon as it is 12:09 in the PM. It's me, therapist slash lyrical ninja. Yeah, I am excited to check in with y'all today. We are going to have a really dope talk this afternoon. I did want to highlight my baby. She has grown so much, y'all. She's beautiful. She's one of many. You guys know I love plants so much. So I have them all over the place. I've been trying to get rid of these nets and I use this little natural situation, but still having some issues because of all my plants. I have some fruit plants in here. I have, of course, just general greenery. So if you have any suggestions, drop those in the comments. I would greatly appreciate them. How was y'all's weekend? I hope it was great. Just on a quick check-in. I know, last time I talked about battle rap because I love it so much. So just a quick check-in. Queen of the Ring is back. And I see that they've got some pretty fly folks on there. I just watched a good morning. Hi. I just watched something quick this morning and I was really, really impressed. So yeah. Today we are going to talk about relationships, the breakup. What is it like to grieve? What is it like to transition out of relationships? That's a hefty topic. I see so many times that people can go and have gone into such great deep depression in their relationships, like once their relationships end or are transitioning out, right? And I just want to acknowledge that you're going through the grieving process. A loss is a loss is a loss, right? Whether it be a relationship, whether it be a life, whether it be a job, whether it be, something that you are connected to, it's still a loss. There doesn't have to be grieving doesn't have to necessarily be defined as an experience in just death, right? Grieving is an experience when you're going through a loss of some kind, is the way that I position it. So, I would consider like anything that you were connected to emotionally, physically, psychologically, and you lose it. Again, a job. Have you noticed when some people are, working on, even if they decide that they're going to quit, it's such a psychological and emotional process. You've built relationships with people at work. You may have contentious relationships at work. You have to come up with a new plan for what comes next. You have to come up with like what it's going to look like for you. Do you want to quit the job? Are you just mad at administration? Do you really like what you do? It's such and can be a really strenuous emotional and psychological process. So just to consider those things when you are thinking through this transition or this breakup, right? When you're in a relationship, that's another process, right? Because you have spent and invested time, money, and energy and effort into something or someone, specifically someone. And you're saying, okay, now whether you're saying it or they're saying to you, I don't want to do this anymore, or we're not able to do this anymore, or move forward, it immediately can become this, when people tell me, so and so, broke up with me, and I immediately felt panic, right? Part of us, and I would say part of us as human beings, we traditionally lend to routine. So part of it is just the immediate jolt of what's going to happen to my routine, right? I'm used to seeing you on so and so, or I'm used to talking to you every day. I'm used to us eating together, sleeping together. I'm used to getting up and making your lunch. These routines. I'm used to us going on dates. I'm used to having someone to hang out with, chill with, laugh with, etc. It lends to what our routines will look like. We are really creatures of habit, and change can be really scary and intimidating, although it's not impossible, although it will happen anyway. It's okay. Just be okay with not being okay, right? You just need to know that for a moment, you may not be okay. There's also this like expression of wow, I immediately felt free. That's great too, right? That's also part of the process of grieving. There are steps in grieving, but I'm gonna step away from that for the purpose of this particular conversation because I want to speak to how people describe it and experience it versus the technical terms. Okay. So going through this process of grieving, right? There's so many things you can feel: joy, happiness, sadness, relief, devastation, embarrassment. You can feel so many things at different spaces, right? And it depends on how you respond to loss, right? And I think of it more in like a fight or flight experience, right? Some people check out. I'm gone. I'm not even here. I'm just wherever I am. I'm moving on to the next thing. I'd rather do. Let me do until the emotional piece catches up with me. Then I'll handle it then. Some folks respond that way, which is okay. The other part to that is the fight folks. I'm angry. I'm overwhelmed with emotion and feeling, and I'm trying to figure out how to channel it and what to do with it. Have you ever seen someone become emotionally erratic and irrational, or they are extremely anxious, observably anxious? You know, grief can bring about a lot of different emotions, and just having to be prepared, not only if it's you to process that and experience it, but also to support someone else when they're in that space. It is a really hard space to be in. Having to accept or going through the process of accepting, whoa, accepting that whatever that is a loss, accepting that whatever that is a death, accepting that of whatever that is as being gone, not in your life anymore, not something you can routinely rely on. That is really, really challenging just for the everyday person. So it's not like you're unable to transition, be resilient, and be flexible. In those kinds of spaces when we're managing loss, there are really no rules, if that makes sense. Like, it's hard to tell. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a couple come and want to come to counseling for a very recent loss. It was like maybe within like a week or so, and someone very close to them. And I remember saying, because after I started to do the intake and I'm processing with them, and I immediately, said and thought, like, I can't help you avoid the grieving process. I can only support you in this experience. There is no way, because it started to come across as if they just wanted the feelings to stop. I can't help you stop that. That is a part of a necessary experience for you to be able to experience your feelings, experience the real reality of the environment, the reality of what happened. I wouldn't stop that even if I could. That is a process that you must experience in order for you to move forward. However, of course, because it makes folks so uncomfortable, we talk about really their therapeutic techniques, or coping skills to use to manage it more efficiently. But if this person was off work for a few weeks to, I think, a month or two, allow yourself to just be. You don't need anybody to tell you how to grieve your loss. You just need to experience it. Let's talk about not being destructive. Let's talk about not being counterproductive. Let's talk about keeping yourself safe. Let's talk about what that can look like and what you need to grieve productively. What does that look like? Listen, I think the unproductive thing to do is create um ripple effect consequences. So let's say you're already grieving, right? This immediately makes me think of the woman who goes out and destroys shit. Like, goes out and destroys cars and writes stuff on it and throwing out stuff. This is the thing. That's counterproductive and destructive. If you're that angry and overwhelmed, that's okay. Go hit a bag. What do they call the bags that at like a boxing ring, right? They even have the little joints now where you can go to the space and break shit. You pay to break shit. Why not do that? Make your anger productive, not destructive, because there can be ripple effect consequences, right? You do this one thing and your immediate response to your anger, what if he sues you? You know what? You don't know what is to come of that. And just because, and your explanation of I was angry is not good enough. So please try not to be counterproductively angry. Like, respond to it in a different way. The other piece to that is, what are you responding to? Let's start with, what are you responding to? What are you angry about? Are you actually angry about the loss of the experience? Are you actually angry about the idea of this person or their experience? And I just want to say, y'all, as I mentioned that, I really think a lot of times folks don't necessarily grieve or struggle with losing the person. They grieve or struggle with losing the idea of this person, the idea of their potential reality, their idea of their potential future. They grieve that more than they grieve the actual person. Not that people don't grieve the actual person. I just, maybe this is just my perception, that I see people grieve most with the idea of a family, the idea of children, the idea of having a safe, stable place that you're familiar with and used to, the idea, right? Not necessarily the person. Excuse me, so I would just challenge you to consider, what are you actually grieving? Are you grieving the breakup? Are you sad or embarrassed because you got broken up with? Are you upset or frustrated with yourself because you felt like you had to make a decision you didn't want to make? What are you really upset about, sad about, happy about? Figure out where these feelings are stemming from, the root. Get to the root of things. Okay? The other part to this is, I want to keep in mind and reiterate how much of a microwave society we are. We want to have a breakup today, be over them tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily work that way in most cases, I believe. You cannot microwave your feelings and your experiences. You cannot. I know we want to. I know we're so used to being able to get things the way Burger King said we could get it the way we want. Okay? But that's not really how it works. We have to be able to experience our feelings even when it's adversive to what we want. It's necessary. Our body responds to these things even in our efforts to avoid it, right? If you're angry, feel your anger. If you're sad, feel your sadness. If you're happy, feel that too. If you're embarrassed, feel that too. Allow yourself to experience your feelings full force so you can move through them versus move against them. I think of like when we try to avoid things or be counterproductive, it's like constantly, okay, you get there and you may stop and release, right? And it just reverts. It diverts itself. It is there. It's still there and it's coming back, right? That's why folks experience triggers. Okay? Triggers, underline. We have to deal with it, acknowledge it, be able to, in order to move through it and go past it. It doesn't mean you're going to forget. I don't believe in forgetting. I believe in forgiving. I believe in being able to heal and move forward. That's a very different thing than forgive and forget. I don't believe in that whole concept at all, actually. But just allowing yourself to be a person. In this microwave society, we have also gotten this idea that being sad or grieving something or someone is a bad thing. No, it's not. Does it make you a simp? No, it doesn't. Does it make you like what do they call women? Does it make you a sucker or whatever? Like, no, you're sad. Just be sad. You're hurt. Just be hurt. Allow that to be what you're experiencing now, not who you are. It doesn't define you. It explains your experience, right? It does not define you. It explains your experience. When I think of like rebounds, y'all, please also be careful with rebounds. That shit don't make it no better. It really doesn't. It may be a temporary emotional fix or psychological fix, really, because it's not an emotional fix. your psychological experiences influences your avoidance of your feelings, but that's neither here nor there. These rebound folks that you want to go sleep with or talk to, or be clear that rebound, that you do have to experience, process, and grieve in order for you to be effective in these relationships. So you're not triggered with something they didn't even do to you, right? So that you can be a productive thinker and experience what is available to you. Allow yourself to process what's in front of you before you move forward. These quick fixes speak to what we want versus what we need, right? Just be clear about that. And just the plainest, most simple terms. Who we are, everything from our pride, thank you, our ego, is satisfied by feeling power and control, right? And in that, there are things that we cannot control and the things that we don't have power over. And that is the experience of grief and pain and sadness. We don't have control over that. We will experience that. That's just a part of living, just a part of being a human being. And you have to give yourself permission, to experience that. Avoiding it makes it worse. Listen, y'all. I cannot tell you how many times I get folks that are just stuck, not because they're not trying, simply because they don't even know how, to just allow themselves to be. That we've gotten so accustomed to quick fixes and maneuvers, right? That Deer Park is so good. Do you guys like Deer Park? Deer Park water is it's just so good. That was a total side note. People have gotten so used to conveniences as it relates to their life, like living in the world, and they think that convenience will lend to their experiences in relationships, and it won't. We can't run from us. Power and control are sometimes tangible, but most times abstract ideas, right? They're abstract ideas. How we use our power and control is up to us. We do have control over that. The other part to that is, I think, societally, we've considered being sad as some kind of weakness, or being vulnerable as some kind of weakness. And it's not. It's actually one of the most powerful tools that you have, is being able to connect, be open, be honest, be transparent about your feelings, accept, feel through. That's one of the most powerful tools or skills you can have. So I know, again, socially, I think we've equated vulnerability to weakness, but I think that that's absolutely wrong. I think that vulnerability is absolutely one of the most powerful tools, characteristic skills that you can have. And we have to allow ourselves to be that. It creates a space of transparency and honesty, more importantly for us, and then we can move more efficiently, right, and productively if we're clear about who we are, what we want, and what we need, and how to pursue that productively. Do y'all have any questions about what I said? Maybe I'm just totally full of shit. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm totally fine with your feedback. I want to know where y'all are. Have you guys experienced any of the things that I'm talking about? Do you agree, disagree with anything that I said? And if so, what do you disagree with or agree with? So I have to tell you guys, as someone who's been there, if you don't deal with it then, it will haunt you. It will be back. It doesn't go anywhere. And you will be triggered and emotionally vulnerable in a space where you less predicted it. Right? When we want to do this quick, I'm moving on, I don't need them, I'm done, I'm this, I'm that. You have to give yourself space. It does feel a little better. And this is, like, dang, I can move on and give me somebody else. That sadness don't go nowhere. It doesn't. Oh, don't let you see him out in public with somebody else. Oh, don't let them have called you or not called you or considered you or whatever. You know how it shows up. Mm. We know how it shows up when we are least prepared to deal with ourselves. We know what it looks like when we are least prepared to deal with ourselves. And I love the way you said that. Yes, love yourself through your grieving, allowing yourself to be a person. That is really the best skill you could ever have is acceptance, allowance. Allow yourself to be a person. What do y'all think? Total BS? Yes, no, maybe so. How have you experienced things? How have you resolved things? What does that mean for you? Where do you go from there? Where do you go from there? What's next? I think the most important takeaway from today was just that it's not a quick fix. You have to allow it to take its time, allow the process to happen. Trust the process because there is one. Um, Talk to someone, share, lend to your social network or your close experience relationships. Allow people to support you so you can support yourself. Support you first. And let it happen. Let it happen. The thing I would say is if you can, to keep like a diary or a journal or some kind of transmission of your feelings, especially while you're going through the process. This will help you take whatever's in here, get it out of here, and get it out on paper, even if it's not verbally to someone else. Get out of your head and get it out into the world so that you can process it. The other thing is speaking to existence what you want. I believe in manifestations. We manifest so many things in our lives, and we have to be able to manifest healing and, acceptance and manifesting those things that can be really tricky and also unmeasurable, right? We can do that. We have the power to do that. What do y'all think? Because y'all know I can get on my soapbox. So I was trying to keep it very like straightforward and concise. So what do y'all think? It is breaking up a uncontrollable phenomenon? Help me here. Is breaking up an uncontrollable phenomenon? Because I tend to think that it is and it isn't in some ways. Like, are you able to better manage your feelings as the breakup happens, the longer the breakup, has gone on or whatever? How do y'all find, or what has been helpful to y'all? I think it's a really tricky space to be in because we've all been there when we've done some foolish things, right? Foolish. We've been sad, we've been happy, we've felt free, we felt rejected, we felt abandoned, we felt annoyed, we felt so many things as it relates to a breakup. What are y'all's experiences in breakups? How do you reconcile those feelings and experiences? Where do you go from there? Because it is a really hard or challenging place to be. What do y'all think? Well, I just wanted to come to y'all today. Y'all are super fantastic. I enjoy these talks that we have. So, in the midst, please share, like, subscribe, share, tag a friend. I hope y'all heard me okay. I wanted to use my microphone today that I love. I keep forgetting about it. So, I wanted to use my microphone. But tell me what you guys think. Tell me how you feel. Don't forget to get my couples interactive journal and finding me on my website, themahoganyproject.com. Check out the podcast, Take This Shit Personal, and subscribe. And tag a friend, share with a friend. And I will see you next Monday.